The day started like any other, the morning sun casting long shadows across the neatly trimmed lawns. But when I stepped outside, a gasp escaped my lips and my stomach plummeted to my feet. What was that smell? That raw, industrial odor? My entire driveway, the one I had spent countless weekends meticulously power washing and sealing, was a smooth, wet expanse of freshly poured concrete. What in the hell? A low hum vibrated in the air from a distant mixer truck. My mind reeled. Who would do this? Why? I stood there, utterly paralyzed, the sheer audacity of it all burning in my throat. Just then, I saw her, Karen from next door, peeking out from behind her blinds with a smug, self-satisfied smirk on her face. Her perfectly coiffed blonde bob and condescending stare were all I needed to confirm my worst fear. This was an act of pure, unadulterated entitlement. I stomped across the lawn, the dew-soaked grass squishing under my worn sneakers, and hammered on her front door. The sound of my fist against the hollow wood was a rhythm of pure rage. She opened the door just a crack, her eyes darting between my face and my ruined driveway. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice dripping with the fake sweetness of a venomous snake. "You know damn well what you did." I seethed, my hands clenching into fists. "Why would you pour concrete in my driveway?" A slight shrug. "It's a nuisance. Your cars are always in my line of sight, and your guests park on the street. It's a violation of neighborhood aesthetics. Besides," she added with a nasty little smile, "you have a garage, don't you? It's not like you actually need the space." My jaw dropped. Was she for real? My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I just stood there, speechless, as she slowly closed the door in my face. A final, sickening click echoing in the morning silence. The next few days were a blur of frustration and simmering anger. I called the police, but they said it was a civil matter. I called a lawyer, who advised me that a lawsuit would be long, expensive, and likely wouldn't even cover the full cost of the removal and repair. The concrete hardened, a monument to her spite, and I was forced to park my car on the street like a common criminal. Every time I passed her house, a deep, guttural sigh of helplessness would escape my lungs. I'd catch a glimpse of her through her pristine bay window, sipping her kombucha, probably reveling in my misery. I'd sit on my front porch in the evenings, the setting sun painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples, just staring at that gray slab, constant, ugly reminder of my powerlessness. But then, one night, as a cool breeze rustled the leaves, an idea, crazy, beautiful, absolutely brilliant idea, began to form in my mind. It was a secondary twist, a grander scheme that would not only get my revenge but also serve a purpose and, perhaps, even turn a profit. The plan was a masterwork of legal loopholes and poetic justice. Her house, you see, was just on the cusp of a commercial zoning area, a fact she often lorded over me, bragging about how she could open a small business there if she ever wanted to. The property line was a little wonky too, thanks to a botched survey years ago that she, of course, had never bothered to fix. She had a massive, sprawling front lawn, a green expanse that she treated like a sacred, untouchable space. I spent weeks making calls, poring over municipal codes, and speaking with a truly bewildered, but ultimately intrigued, zoning attorney. The sweet, satisfying hum of a dial tone, followed by the sound of a voice confirming my suspicions. Yes, a parking lot was well within the legal rights for that zone, and a private lot could be built on any property, even a residential one, as long as it had proper signage and payment systems. The lawyer's laugh, a dry, incredulous chuckle, was the sweetest sound I'd heard in months. The contractors arrived on a crisp Tuesday morning, their big, yellow machines roaring to life. A single, Large dump truck, the same kind she'd probably hired, rumbled down the street. The sight of her sprinting out of her front door, a look of pure, unadulterated horror on her face, was a feast for my eyes. "What are you doing?" she shrieked, her voice reaching a pitch that could shatter glass. "You can't do this. This is my property." I just leaned against my car, placid smile on my face. "It's a civil matter," I said, playful tone in my voice. "The municipality says I can do whatever I want with my property as long as it's within code. You're free to check with your lawyer, though I'm guessing he'd say the same thing mine did." She just stood there, speechless, as the front loader started to tear up the precious, manicured lawn she had so adored. The scent of turned-up soil, the sounds of tearing grass. It was all a symphony of karmic retribution. She tried to call the police, but they remembered the last time she'd done that and just told her to read the municipal code. She called her husband, who was a quiet, harried man, and he just shook his head and walked back inside, leaving her to face the consequences of her own terrible actions. The work was done in a few weeks. The once vibrant, green yard was now a well-paved, clearly marked parking lot. White lines separated each spot, and at the end of the first row, a shiny new parking meter stood tall, waiting for its first customer. The sign, professionally made and lit, read, "Public parking, pay to park, $15 per hour." Her front door was now facing a constant parade of headlights and the distant slam of car doors. The final piece of the puzzle, the true, agonizing twist, was revealed a week later when I sent her a certified letter. The letter was a work of art, detailing the new arrangement and politely informing her that as the primary beneficiary of the parking lot, all revenue generated would be used to cover the initial construction costs, with the remainder being deposited into an escrow account. The kicker? She was the primary user of the new lot, as her house was now completely enclosed by it. The only way she could get her kombucha delivery was to have them park in her new lot and pay the fee, which I would then graciously reimburse from her own account, with a small, very legal, administration fee. Her frantic, threatening voicemails were the sound of my victory lap. This wasn't just revenge. It was a lesson in humility, a powerful testament to the fact that you can't treat people like they don't matter and get away with it. You reap what you sow, and sometimes the harvest is concrete, and the yard you lose is one you have to pay for.